This week's Torah portion is Parshat Behukotai. With this parsha, we complete the Sefer of Vayikra. In the parsha, towards the end, is the promise or the concept of Hekdesh, for a person to be able to be makdish, to sanctify and allot a certain portion for the sense of kedusha. As a result of that kedusha, that holiness, it is not to be used for mundane purposes. Could be that someone is makdish, allots or designates a certain item. Could be a person, as the Torah discusses, is makdish, designates a field, his field, for the sake of kedusha, lehakdish, for the sake of it being used in holiness. If that is the case, it can only be redeemed on Shnat HaYovel, the 50th year, the year after 7 cycles of Shemitah. The concept of Kedusha, the concept of holiness, is procedural. It takes time. If holiness, if sanctity, if spirituality was something that was instantaneous, something that we could attain immediately, then it would obviously be valueless, or certainly less valuable, or certainly less meaningful. No, spirituality is procedural. It requires sacrifice, it requires introspect, and it requires a process by which we internalize, understand, and completely immerse ourselves in the concept of nurturing that spirit so that it evolves and reveals itself in this world. The same thing can be said with regards to the concept of what we find ourselves now, Yemei HaGeula, the days of redemption. Those are Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, the remembrance day for the fallen soldiers and victims and hostages and victims of terror. Yom HaAtzmaut, Israeli Independence Day, and Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, in which we remember and commemorate and celebrate the unification and the delivery of Yerushalayim from its borders in the 1967, the Six-Day War, our victory. And as such, within describing these concepts of Geulah, redemption, there is a Shir HaMa'alot, a perek of Tehillim, of Psalms that we recite consistently on holidays and on Shabbat. Shir HaMa'alot B'shuv Hashem et Shivat Zion Hayinu Kecholmim. Let us sing praise, B'shuv Hashem Shivat Zion, as a Kadosh Baruch Hu, God allots us the opportunity to return to Zion, presumably singing the praises of Geulah, of our redemption. Yet, Hayinu Kecholmim, we were or are like dreamers. That dream has not completely or has not completed itself. It has not completely transpired. We are still in the midst of a dream. And yet, at the end of the same perek, it says, Hazorim bedima berina yiksoru. Hazorim bedima, those who plant and those who invest in the fields. Bedima is bedema, with tears. Those who invest with energies, those who invest with sacrifice, even that sacrifice that might cause crying, berina yiksoru. The day will come when they will sing, Rina, they will be jubilant. Yiktzoru, they will once again thresh the floor of the threshing fields and be able to achieve their supplication. Collect the wheat from the fields as the trees of Eretz Yisrael in the time of redemption will give forth fruit. Hazorim bedima, I myself on a personal experience have experienced trying to resoil, trying to refertilize, reinvigorate the fields again with dima, with crying, the loss of my child, the loss of Gila. But it is my hope and prayer, Berina Yiktzoru, that in some way there will be revealed once again in my own personal redemption, singing, jubilance. Interestingly enough, our youngest granddaughter is called Libi Rina. Libi, Lev, the heart. Rina is joy. Rina, her name Rina, is named after Gila, or in memory of Gila. Gila is joy, Rina is joy. It is my hope that my tears that I cry, my tears of strife, my tears of pain, will one day turn into tears of a redemption, will be more understanding, comprehension, and embracing of this world at large and of our nation and our purpose on a personal level, so too may our purpose of the fields that we are makdish, that we sanctify for the sake of that holiness, which is procedural, which does take time, and yes, sometimes often does demand sacrifice. Hazorim bedima, the cry, the tears that we cry, the pain that we experience, the difficulties and confrontations that we have now, should one day berina yiktsaru, should burst forth in joy as we experience our redemption as a result of our efforts and understand more God's plan for the sake of his land and his nation. This is the Torah way, it is the Jewish way, and it is the Gila way. Shabbat Shalom.